Okay, today is trim day. There's so many things you can do with trim you wouldn't believe it. So I picked the ugliest little bit of the house. I'm going to trim it. It's going to look better. Okay, this is it. This is a nasty little 50s half wall. And you can see in the top, it's been filled. It's kind of crummy looking. It's an eyesore. So I'm going to trim it out. And you can pick any kind of trim you want. There's billions of kinds of trim at the home centers or the hardware stores. Okay, so this is how it works. See this? This is called a mitre. This is fancy, okay? We're not doing butt joints. That's for amateurs. We're doing the real thing here. So, okay, I did cut a couple of pieces ahead of time, but I am going to show you how to do it. So, this is going to line up here, and then there'll be an identical one on the other side. And then you always save the shortest, nastiest little bit that goes in for the end. So there'll be a little bit right across here. I'm saving that, okay? So my first job is to get these two pieces on to the wall, and I have to make sure that they're not sticking up above and that everything is hunky-dory, because then there's a nice big piece of pine that's going to sit on top of the trim pieces. And I'm going to slap the level on it. Okay, which one did I say I didn't need? Yeah, that one. Get rid of that. Okay, so, and then how do you tell where, we don't have this last bit here yet. So this little corner is going to be tricky. So that's why you need this little piece, which you cut. It's just a little scrap, and you line it up, and it tells you how far the side pieces have to come out. See, it needs to be about like that. Now, just before I tack this down, let's observe where the bubble is in the level. Obviously, when this house was built, there was some errant carpentry going on, because this little wall is not level. Look, this needs to be the bubble needs to be in the middle. So I'm going to have to lift this piece of trim up so that the bubble is in the middle. And that way, when the cap goes on, it won't be tilted like this. We don't want the tilt thing, because then you put the keys down and then they're on the floor and nobody can explain why. However, because things are getting a little complicated at this point, I am going to add either a clamp to the job to help me hold things, or I might even ask for a helper. I'm going to go with the helper. Oh, helper. Excellent. Okay, so this is the deal. I want you to hold this piece up on the other side, and we're going to make sure that everything's level, and then, right. Okay. So your piece really just has to line up with the thing, and my piece has to come a little higher. And clamping it off. Good. Okay, now I can put in these finished nails, and I will ask you for more help later, probably. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to put in a nail about once every, 10 inches or so. Okay, now I'm not going to finish nailing this in. I don't think you can see this. Watch this. That's about how far to leave the nail head out. It's maybe a little bit far, 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, because you want to use a nail set to push it right into the wood. You don't want to do that now, or you get a big hammer mark, and that's just no darn good. Whenever you're using any striking tool, you should wear the safety goggles. Okay, so the next thing to do is to take a measurement and find out how long, basically, to cut that little bit that's going to go in there. So you need to measure, whenever you're working with miter joints and you need to cut one that has both corners are mitered, measure the long point. So it looks like this. So the measurement says 6 1/8. So that's long point to long point. So there's the little mark. And when I put this lumber in the cutter, in the miter box, I have to line the saw up so that it's over that mark. Okay, there it is. And it's good to take just a piece of sandpaper and clean up the little hook, the little edges. And I'm going to glue that in place and then tack it with one nail just to hold it there. That's just a little carpenter's glue. It's the kind that you can put on your fingers and make scary fake skin, you know. Okay, so that'll go right here. This trim is pine, so it's quite soft and it won't split. If you're using something fancy like oak, you'd want to pre-drill it because it will split on you. All right, the next thing to do is set these nails that we left sticking out a little bit. And you should choose a nail set that either has a small enough dimple in the end that it fits right in the little hollow, or one that fits completely over the nail head. And we're going to fill these later. And the first tap is just for balance, and then the second tap is the one that sends it into the wood. All right, this is the top piece, the actual cap, and you'll notice that it has the angles cut off at the back. And really, that's just a safety thing, because look, over here, once it's sitting in position, if somebody was coming along at high speed along this wall, they could really catch their leg on if it was a nice sharp corner. So we'll take those corners down whenever possible in our trim work. And another thing that's really sharp on an unfinished board, when you buy a pine board, these corners are really sharp. Now, I'm not going to bother with the underside because I'm just not, because I'm just superficial and I only care about what people are going to see, which is this top bit here. So what works is just to use a planer, this is just a little hand planer, and you just drag it along the side. This is so fun to do, I must say. It's more fun when the board is actually clamped down, but you get the idea. See those lovely little tendrils of wood that it produces? And that just takes the really sharp edge off it. Then you could put this board on and drill and then screw the board down to the drywall surface underneath. But in this case, I'm going to use construction adhesive. I'm going to really gob on this construction adhesive so that it forms a nice pad for the board. Whoa, a backfire. Okay, now I don't want to get too carried away because I'll squeeze out the sides and I'll have a whole bunch of cleanup to do. So the board's going on. Again, the nice planed edges are up. And I'm just feeling it with my fingers so I more or less center it. And you can actually measure if you like to be really precise about it. Okay, so that's good. Then I'll just check it at the back and put a little pressure on it. Actually, if you have a bucket or maybe a small child who's been bad and has to sit still for a while, no, okay, that's just not fair. Something like this is good, okay? And just put it on the thing. Just let me move this for a second. You want to caulk with painter's latex caulk at this end so it's really tidy. And other than that, it looks pretty darn good. You might want to caulk between the seam between the cap and the trim as well. And then when it comes time to paint, call a friend who knows a little bit about finishes, because I don't know anything about them. But I'm sure you could do something fancy like stencils or something. This was just one example of how you can use trim to beautify your home. The irritation level is kind of high if you're new at it, but Get some good tools and stay with it, because it's a great skill to have. If you find yourself constantly wondering where you left your crevice tool, I have a tip for you, all right? You get that that sticky tape with the hook and loop stuff on it, and you stick one piece on your crevice tool, and you stick the other piece on your vacuum cleaner. So next time you're looking for your crevice tool, you know just where to reach for it. Huh? Okay, wait, it goes like this. Huh? And the rest of them too. Know where your attachments are at all times. Don't be caught not knowing. We've come to that part of the show where I like to talk to the people who are putting off attempting their own home repairs. As Shakespeare said, screw your courage to the sticking post. Okay, now, the irony is that technically, even that quotation is repair-based, isn't it? Because your courage has apparently come unstuck and needs to be reattached. So you will need rudimentary screwing technique even to put your courage in place in order to begin your home repairs, and you may not even be in the mood for screwing. So here is some helpful information. Shakespeare was only suggesting screwing because he could not possibly have imagined high tensile strength long chain polymers, in which case he would clearly have said, glue your courage to the sticking post. So you see, if you're still putting off doing your own home repairs, you may not be merely a procrastinator. You could be an arty bohemian type who may become the next great creator of immortal language, like thou churlish, onion-eyed footlicker. Which reminds me, it's dinner time.